The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Wicked Weed Studios, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Jeremy Greene. This is Tommy Bradley. This is Brian Haynes. And this is the Los Angeles Rams 2021 offseason review. This is a team we have talked about a lot.
Yeah.
We're really fond of the Matthew Stafford signing, or the trade for Matthew Stafford, the replacement of Jared Goff. And I think all three of us look at this team about the same way, that this is going to be a formidable team in the NFC.
I absolutely agree. I think they're definitely have a chance to make a run at the Super Bowl. They're in a really, really tough division, and that's the reason I have them at 11-6. Still winning 11 games, but at 11-6, it's going to be a gauntlet to get through that division this year. Matthew Stafford trade was just lights out. I think Cam Akers is going to take a huge step this year. And the receiving core, it's still the same. And, you know, they add pieces like Deshaun Watson, who sometimes...
Deshaun Jackson, not Deshaun, God almighty.
Interesting receiver pickup.
Yeah, exactly. But he's going to be another guy to take it over the top, and then Cooper Kupp's going to be able to work in the middle and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Stafford takes this offense to another level. I don't hate Jared Goff, but I think they had a ceiling with him going forward. I mean, they had their year. They went to the Super Bowl. I just think Matt Stafford is a great quarterback that's been in a really bad situation. I think he's going to thrive in L.A. I think the receiving core is always going to be solid. I love Cam Akers. I think he's going to have a great sophomore year as well. But my thing is, they've got so much top-end talent, and having Aaron Donald, having Jalen Ramsey, you've got two of the best players at their position. This team's obviously going to be a good team, but I worry about the depth. I mean, they've had to use a lot of cap space and a lot of draft picks to acquire that top-end talent, to get Stafford in there, to get Ramsey in there. And when you do that, you lose out on some of that cheap talent you can get through the draft. So I worry that, I don't see them as deep a team as they have been in the past, and a couple of injuries could throw them off here and there. But I love Tutu Atwell as another receiver to go with Cooper Kupp and Deshaun Jackson and Robert Woods. I think the offense is going to be better, but I just worry about depth.
I do as well, but I look at this team and go, you know what, they've drafted so well. Losing John Johnson and things like that obviously hurt, but they found them somewhere in the first place. So this is a team that I trust pretty well when it comes to draft picks. They haven't had a first-round pick since Jared Goff, and the team's still pretty damn good. The one thing I will say is be very careful how much better you think Matt Stafford is than Jared Goff. I'm not saying there's not a difference. There certainly is. I think the difference that people are making it out to be is aggressively more than it should be. People make Jared Goff sound like he's, a poor man's version of Andy Dalton, and Matt Stafford sound like he's a poor man's Pat Mahomes. I don't buy either one of those things. Like I said, I think he's markedly better. The ceiling is much higher. There's going to be a lot more asking you to win us games than asking you not to lose us games like they did with Jared Goff. And before anybody says, oh, you're just a hater, I need you to understand this is the team I have winning the NFC and playing in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. I just love the whole fit of this team this year. I think that, did you guys see that Aaron Donald's, like, every single year that this guy's played, he's been either a first-team All-Pro or the Defensive Player of the Year? It's just insane how good this guy is. And when you have two dominant defenders like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, it allows you to hide some deficiencies, maybe in depth and stuff that you're helping out, that we're talking about. I think Matthew Stafford is honestly, and I'm actually kind of on that side of he's a much better player, and I think he's a sneaky MVP candidate this year.
That's the talk that drives me crazy, because I don't think there's a snowball's chance in Atlanta he wins MVP. Because I think he will be asked to do more than Jared Goff was. I also agree with Tommy and think that Cam Akers is going to have an absolutely unbelievable sophomore season.
And they're going to need to rely on that. They want to keep Stafford healthy, so they're going to have to lean on the run game. And when they were at their best in their Super Bowl run, they had a good run game, and then they had those 3 receiver sets where they could kind of spread you out and get the ball in their playmakers' hands. And Stafford I love him as a quarterback. I think he's going to do great in that system, but I think if they're there's going to be an adjustment going from where Matt Stafford was the team and was the offense and had to do everything himself to realizing, okay, there's talent here, there's a good defense, I don't need to press. I think he's going to have to settle in a little bit to this big stage, but I think he can do it. I think he's an awesome quarterback.
Across the entire staff, I and Brian were the lowest record-wise. He had them in the NFC Championship game. I had them in the Super Bowl. So this is a team that we're very high on as a staff. The records range from 11-6 to 15-2. That's from Caleb Peak.
Woo.
I'm going to be honest with you about a couple players that I just so happen to know reasonably well. Tutu Atwell is a guy that a lot of Rams fans, Alex Sander, were not particularly fond of. This is a very difficult guy to cover. I understand he's very small. This is the way the NFL's going. He is going to be more of a contributor in year one than Deshaun Jackson. You mark that down. He's a very difficult guy to defend. I still really like Van Jefferson. I just think they have a ton of weapons. In terms of fantasy value guys, I look at Tyler Higbee. I feel like people are forgetting about him. Now there's no Gerald Everett. Really, his biggest competition for snaps is going to be Jacob Harris, who's a converted wide receiver from Central Florida.
Right.
I don't understand why Tyler Higbee's this low. I mean, I get that they have a lot of weapons and all those things. There are not many safe tight ends in this league. And Tyler Higbee, according to Fantasy Football Calculator, his current ADP in early leagues, and yes, there are leagues that are drafting right now. Do I understand it? No. Is it happening? Yes. I see Tyler Higbee as a mid tight end one, low end tight end one, super high end tight end two, bottom of that middle tier, 8 to 12 in terms of tight ends. At worst, he's a really good tight end two. If you try to double dip a tight end and not have one of the studs, I think he could have a tremendous year. I'll be honest with you, I like every offensive piece for the Rams. And the defense is good enough. I like the secondary. There's a lot of things to like with the Rams.
One last fantasy question for you. Last year, the Rams' backfield was really frustrating. It seemed like every week they had a different hot hand. You couldn't trust anybody. We both like Cam Akers as far as what he's going to do production-wise for the team this year. Do you feel comfortable taking him as a fantasy running back?
Second round. He will go too high in most places for me to wind up with him because his good is that good. Darrell Henderson is not going to snipe that many carries from him. With Malcolm Brown now gone, I look at this as a two-man backfield now. They have other running backs, but not enough to scare me off of Cam Akers. I think he's going to be tremendous. I think he's a back end of the top 10 running back in fantasy football this year with the potential to be a top 5 guy. No, but nothing's going to get me off Dalvin Cook at 1. But other than that, positions 2 through 8 are, I could be convinced of a lot of things.
I asked that because I saw Cam Akers carry Florida State for a lot of games in college, and I know his talent. So I picked him last year, really excited, and then it seemed like every week, they were riding with a different running back, and there was no real rhyme or reason other than a couple of injuries that you could really predict it. So I am looking for him to break out. I love Cam Akers. I'm just not sure if I felt confident after last year. So.
I'm a level. I do. I feel confident about damn near everything in this LA Rams offense and damn near everything with this team. For Brian Haynes and Tommy Bradley, I'm Jeremy Greene. This has been the LA Rams 2021 offseason review from the Sportsocracy. Brought to you, as always, by Wicked Weed Brewing, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different.